Lovely good afternoon. Time now for the midday news. We look at the headlines. Police snab 35 people for disorderly conduct. CSAWUZ urges government to stop politicizing the civil service. In our international headlines, Zimbabwe to become the new African agricultural powerhouse. And in our sports headlines, FAZ mourns mighty and 11KK legend MULALA, who allegedly was killed by his own dogs. We have the details shortly.
Hi ladies and gentlemen, I'm Chol. We're from CSAWUZ Fitness Gym. We're a fully functional gym located along Twin Palm Road in Kablonga, right by Cheshire Homes Society of Zambia. So we have various classes that happen from Monday to Friday. We have aerobics, we have boot camp, we have step aerobics, we have spinning, we have kettlebell classes. They happen from 18 to 19 hours every day, and we are open from 06 until 20 hours. That's Monday to Friday. Then Saturdays 6 to 12, and then Sundays we are closed. And most public holidays we are open 6 to 12.
On 9th January 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chilua as he hosts the FTD President, Madam Edith Nawaku.
Why are we poor? We have resources. Why are we poor? We are poor because we like to govern from the center. The challenge is that Zambia is mapped as mineral rich, but we don't know the value of what is there. Absolutely. We've just been scratching on top.
As they discuss a positive look at the economy of Zambia.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages.
On DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98 and Topstar channel 106.
Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Louisiana Lupumbwe. Residents of Garden Compound in Lusaka have urged the Zambia police to continue with random inspections in the community, which has led to the arrest of gang members, locally known as junkies, who have been terrorizing them. In an interview with Camnet News, the residents have complained that they have been forced into poverty because properties in their homes have been stolen by the same junkies. One of the residents, identified as Lydia Daka, says some community members are afraid of starting businesses in fear of having their businesses looted by the criminals. And the Zambia police said Saturday afternoon rounded up 35 people aged between 15 and 25 believed to be behind the spate of attacks on members of the community in Garden Compound. We have details in this report.
This has been the hiding place of about 200 youths in Lusaka's Garden Compound, both male and female, who have allegedly been terrorizing residents of this compound through their criminal activities. Community gangs, locally referred to as junkies, are common in most densely populated communities in Zambia, as many youths are known to be jobless, hence resorting to abusing drugs and carrying out various criminal activities. It was at this hideout that residents of Lusaka's Garden Compound say the Zambia police rounded up a number of the said criminals Saturday afternoon under its operation of curbing community crime. Residents of this area say they took it upon themselves to demolish a house here about 1 week ago, which the gang members were using as a hideout, leaving them to sleep in this open space.
Nyumba tinaipwanya papita 1 week pamne tinaipwanya kaibezo gona manomu muchinyumba doko enzeri beso benzo staoro bantu abastashani atayira manomu muchinyumba so se tinachipwanya dono ti bakaba kuda bwera manomu muchinyumba so ise tinachipwanya chichinyumba
pano ndi pamene bavutira majangi pano pa area bativuta balendi wonse sibankalapo ni nyumba yapongozi banga banataba balendi sibankalapo bataba stipita stichita vili vonse bataba majanki fulu bana bangono pepa fuaka naise manje tsankhala okole wanafuaka tupepa tonse twamene muona apa tonse ni fuaka eka yonse
irodi imapitisa abantu bambili kuchoka Kaneri kuja ku Olympia kapera choka kuma industry kunchito wabwera antio kuchipata compound uko so bantu sibankara free e road kafoni okankana kafoni so sinkara kumanja
watu tateka foni utopote kwache ba makafoni batenga bae so at least government imetandikira mwena bwera mairo ipitirize nchito ya kiso chape.
One woman, however, feels the operation is not fair, alleging that even innocent people are being rounded up, as her grandson, whom she sent on an errand, is also one of those who was arrested.
Wanagwiriwa. Olese watu wanagwiriwa nze pano namtuma pakona hapo natikandetele ndrama kuli wankongo anamgwirira pamozi. So hapa amayo akaenda ni mzukuru. Amayo akapa konka ku police namayo benze kwa na explain. Anamvera kapokola tili mwamene. Kai chantenzo wagwira tikapeza ni bambiri so banyamata ni banikezi benze kugwira.
Meanwhile, Zambia Police Deputy Spokesperson Danny Mwale has explained the operation.
And this operation was conducted yesterday, January 7th, 2023, between 10 hours and 15 hours. 35 of them were picked, and among them 4 were found with cannabis. We have since engaged the Drug Enforcement Commission to make sure that these are scrutinized and charged accordingly.
He has further warned the criminals of the full wrath of the law once convicted. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
President Hakainde Hichilema has urged management of Mamba Collieries to look into another time for carrying out maintenance works to avoid the disruption in the supply of power. Speaking when he visited the coal-fired plant in Mamba, Southern Province Sunday, Mr. Hichilema says he has noted the facts on the table that people's livelihood should not be disrupted due to the bad timing. He says his government has not shunned away from the power challenge, which has resulted in over 12 hours of load management, hence calling on all stakeholders in the energy sector to offer solutions with hopes of generating about 10,000 megawatts in the near future for the current population to be sustained. Meanwhile, Mamba Collieries Chief Executive Officer, Lieutenant Colonel Cyrus Minwala, says ZESCO and his institution are working hand in hand to cushion the challenges being faced now.
Mamba Collieries in the heart of Southern Province is the second largest power producer in the country. It produces about 300 megawatts of power and contributes about 216 to ZESCO's main grid. Now, since its routine maintenance, which are done twice a year, this time around it has reduced its power generation to 150. This has led to the increase in load management by the power utility company ZESCO. Late 2022, ZESCO announced a 6-hour load management schedule. But earlier this year, with only less than 10 days in 2023, it has increased the load management schedule to 12 hours. This development has angered many sectors, especially those who deal in small and medium enterprises. Stakeholders have raised their voices on this, owing to the fact that President Hakainde Hichilema, during his time as opposition leader, made a clarion call every time he touched the podium to say, once given an opportunity to be in government, he will end load shedding. This has prompted him to move out of his comfort zone to come here in Mamba to ascertain exactly what is happening. Yesterday at State House, he convened a meeting with energy sector players where he wanted to ascertain the reasons why Mamba Collieries goes for these routine maintenance works, and specifically at this time of the year when the water levels are low.
To Mamba, accelerate the work you're doing. I repeat what I said, an extra hour saved, bring the asset into full production is key. Can save a child on oxygen in a hospital. Because if power went off, the oxygen machine will go off if there's no standby power, and we could lose a life.
President Hichilema also touched on the rumors that are circulating on social media that Mamba Collieries has reduced its power generation due to the date owed by ZESCO. He says the two institutions have reached an agreement and business is going on strong.
Our first core is the domestic market demand. It's the people of Zambia. But the very people of Zambia require jobs, those who are not employed, and hence we have to export. It's a question of balancing the two. They are both necessary.
During the same meeting, Energy Regulation Board informed the gathering that maintenance works here at Mamba Collieries have reduced from 16 days to at least a minimum number to ensure that generation of power is restored to full capacity. Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Mamba Collieries Power Generation Plant in Southern Province.
The Civil Servants and Allied Workers Union of Zambia has urged the United Party for National Development, UPND administration to consider depoliticizing the civil service by allowing civil servants to rise through the ranks to key government positions. In an interview, Union General Secretary Makai says the continued appointing of politically affiliated persons to positions such as those of permanent secretaries is demotivating civil servants who have been in the system for a long time awaiting promotion. He notes that if the status quo remains the same in future appointments, this may lead to selective development, as some citizens known to belong to other political parties will shun away from visiting some government offices. Mr. Makai has therefore noted the importance of ensuring the public offices remain neutral so that all citizens feel welcome regardless of their political affiliation.
Zambian citizens do not wear a cape of this MMD, UPND, Patriotic Front, what. The only cape they have is that of a Zambian, and they want a service from this country, from these offices. Now, if these civil servants are going to be partisan, one, I've said that people will start fearing going to these offices to get a service. Two, people who have the courage to go to these offices might be mistreated by these cadres who are in these offices sitting as permanent secretaries, who are in these offices sitting as heads of departments, who are in these offices sitting as directors. So that's why we are looking forward to a political free civil service, a non-partisan civil service whose job and responsibility is to implement the policies of the party in government, the party in power, implement it to all the citizens of the country, to all parts of the country, without any choice, because they are entitled, it is their country. So this goes to the appointing authorities, in as much as they want to appreciate those who campaigned with them, in as much as they want to appreciate those who funded them. But when it comes to civil service, those appointments should be void of political affiliation.
Residents of Lusaka's Kuku compound are being forced to draw water from the Ngwenya Dam due to lack of clean running water in the community. Kuku compound chairman, identified as Michael Kaposa, says lack of kiosks in the area has been forcing the residents to look for an alternative source of water, which is now posing a serious health risk to residents due to contamination of water. Mr. Kaposa has since called on government to consider constructing more kiosks as well as fencing off the dam to avoid people from dumping dead bodies in the dam. We have details in this report.
The Ngwenya Dam in Lusaka's Kuku compound has remained a subject of great concern as it has continued to be used as a place to hide criminal activities such as murder. With the current water challenges being faced in the area, community members have now turned to the Ngwenya Dam to do their chores such as washing and bathing. And Kuku compound chairman, identified as Michael Kaposa, is however concerned on the health of his community members and has called on the government to consider erecting more kiosks in the area so that the residents can have enough running water.
As I'm telling you right now, we only have one kiosk from that side, and the other one is just there. And people from this side, as you can see, there are people that side, even people from that side, from Mississippi, they also use this water for washing. Who knows, maybe they even use it for bathing. So that's where maybe the government can come in. also to help us with some more kiosks around this place.
And Mr. Kapusa also says despite the many complaints that were aired to the previous administration to have the dam fenced off, nothing has been done, and is now hopeful that with the coming of the United Party for National Development UPND into office, something will be done to prevent the dam from being used for criminal activities such as concealing murder and a dump site for waste.
I'm sure it's not new, and everyone knows that you have been losing lives here. And maybe what we can just ask from the owner, because we are told the owner has bought this thing, this dam. So maybe what we can ask from the owner is just maybe to fence it, like they have done at Brewwater. Maybe that would be safe for our children and the people around the site. And mostly that, well, what I can say is you would find that the people mostly that come to die from this side, maybe they are just thrown in, they come from somewhere else, they're killed from somewhere else.
For the residents of this compound, they continue living in fear of their children drowning in this open dam and still remain hopeful that the government will one day come to their rescue. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
In our international news, Zimbabwe has registered its largest wheat harvest in 2022, amounting to 375,000 tons, making the Austro-African country a self-sufficient agricultural powerhouse. With 375,000 tons of wheat harvest registered for 2022, Zimbabwe is set to become a self-sufficient agricultural powerhouse, a unique performance in Africa. Now, the harvest in 2022 was 13% higher than the previous year, breaking a half-country-old record. In other international news, the 46 Ivorian soldiers pardoned by Mali's junta leader returned home Saturday night. Here's a roundup of international news.
Zimbabwe has registered its largest wheat harvest in 2022, 375,000 tons, making the Austro-African country a self-sufficient agricultural powerhouse. Their harvest in 2022 was 13% higher than the previous year, breaking a half-century-old record. The state has set a policy of distributing fertilizer and buying crops via the Grain Marketing Board, which has won over farmers. The country no longer needs to import to meet requirements, saving up to $300 million in costs. In the current context where African countries are suffering from the absence or high cost of Russian and Ukrainian wheat, Zimbabwe stands out for its proactive policy. The 46 Ivorian soldiers pardoned by Mali's junta leader returned home Saturday night. After their plane landed at 11:40 p.m., the uniformed soldiers disembarked one by one, each brandishing a small Ivorian flag. They were greeted by President Alassane Ouattara before entering the presidential pavilion at the airport where their families were waiting for them. I would like to express on behalf of the entire group our deepest gratitude for all that has been undertaken for our return home. I am delighted to see you back on Ivorian soil today. We're happy for you, happy for us, happy for your families, and happy for our nation. With the pardon and the return of the troops, tensions between the neighboring countries are calming down as President Ouattara wishes to move on from the diplomatic spat. Obviously, now that this crisis is behind us, we can resume normal relations with the brother country of Mali, which needs us and which we also need. The Malians are our brothers. The soldiers had previously been detained in Mali since July 2022 and sentenced to 20 years of prison for conspiracy against the government until they were pardoned.
And that's all in our international news. Time now for sports. The Football Association of Zambia has joined the rest of the football family in mourning former Mufulira Wanderers and Zambia national team star Philemon MULALA. The former KK11 star died in South Africa after reportedly being attacked by his by his own dogs. MULALA was notably part of the 1984 East and Central Africa Challenge squad under Colonel Brightwell Banda that won the trophy. FAS General Secretary Adrian Kashala says the football family had lost a gallant soldier. Mr. Kashala says the country remains with wonderful memories that the late Philemon honors the country with on pitch. On that sporting item, we come to the end of the news at 12, but before we go, let's look at the headlines once again. Police nab 35 people from disorderly conduct. CSAWUZ urges government to stop politicizing the civil service. In international headlines, Zimbabwe to become the new African agricultural powerhouse. And finally in sports, FAS mourns mighty and KK11 legend MULALA, who was allegedly killed by his own dogs. Thank you so much for watching. On behalf of the entire production and news crew, my name is Louisiana Lupumbwe. Bye for now. God bless.